Hello, everyone. I'm Carly Peterson. I'm here with my partner, Sierra.
Hello.
And we're going to talk today about using a tool that we love, Asana, to organize and focus your day and your team and your life. The company that we are both a part of is Technology Angel. And we provide, technology support to business owners and individuals, and also virtual assistant type services to people. And let's get going. So, task and project management is such an important thing to have a tool to help you with. I grew up knowing the importance of organization, and as a young person, back before we had apps on our phones and all of this technology surrounding us all the time, I had, a paper planner that I used to stay organized. And I feel like task and project management tools have replaced that paper planner, at least for me. And they're a lot more robust to stay organized. Keep your priorities straight. So focus on the things that you really need to be doing, and not things that occur to you that you realize you need to do. You can file those things away and do them when it's appropriate to, and continue on with the things you really needed to do. Being able, when you're a part of a team, to communicate quickly with your teammates about tasks without needing to speak in person or send them another email. This is huge. It really cuts down on the amount of effort you have to put into your communications when it's already in context. It's attached to the task. It's a comment on the task that you've tagged to a person. And that person responds back to you having seen everything about the task. You don't have to write an email with 3 paragraphs explaining the context to the task. It's all there for them to see, and you just have to ask your quick question, and they have to answer you back quickly. And then it's an excellent way to bypass a lot of extra explanation and extra communication around a question. And for a manager to be able to see at a glance what your project's progress is like, what's next for your team, what they might be struggling with, all of that at your fingertips and designed around being viewed by a manager. It's really like it. I'm excited to show you it in a little bit. And then being able to keep your longer term projects filed away, like I said, to allow you that space to focus on what you need to do today. I know for me that Asana has been the answer to those needs in every way. And it's to the point now where, I originally started using it as part of a company I worked for that embraced it as a company-wide solution for task and project management. And I began organizing my own life around using Asana, keeping track of all kinds of different pieces, which I will show you later. I'm going to do a demo where I go through my Asana and show you some of the different things that I've set up and how it helps me, no longer have a million things on my mind all the time. Instead, I file things away in Asana, and then I can relax about them. I know I've got it. I will get to it when I need to get to it, and I set the due date, and it's ready to be worked on whenever I have time, And I love that. It's just, it transforms your experience of getting things done as well, because instead of feeling so overwhelmed and knowing how many things you have on your plate coming up, you can kind of let go of that and kind of set it aside and focus on just what you're doing. And you feel like you've accomplished a lot, and you get this kind of celebratory, ending when you mark your task done. And it's pretty awesome. You want to talk about it a bit, Sierra?
Well, I think the favorite story I have of you is that you started using it to remind you to water your plants at your house, and you you weren't so good at house plants before, but Asana has allowed you to keep house plants, which is always, it just kind of shows you just the everyday task that is easy to forget, and Asana can help you remind. And same with business. There's always those little tasks that you always have to do. But I don't know, that story always sticks in my mind about reminding yourself to water the plants.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, having a tool like this that helps you stay organized, you can kind of counteract your own personal failings in a lot of ways. So I'm really forgetful. There's a lot of times before in my life where I would miss deadlines on things that could have made my life easier or better, because if I had gotten that thing in on time, I would have, something different would have happened. And now I get that thing on time every time. I don't miss deadlines. I don't even miss people's birthdays, sending cards on time. I even do that in Asana. Yeah. And like that little thing, it changes the way people think about me, right? Because now I'm that reliable person that always sends the birthday card and always knows what to pack when we go on a trip. I use Asana to track packing lists. So then next year when I go on the same camping trip again, I boop, 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 search for my old list and just copy it and make a new list and update it with any new things that I forgot last year that I know I need to pack this year, which you could also, if you keep your old list, you can make a little note to yourself in the task after you're done with your trip. Oh, something weird happened. Oh, sorry. Technical difficulties. Anyway, when you're done with your trip, you can make a comment to yourself. Oh, I forgot this thing and this thing. So that then the next time when you go back into Asana and you look at your list, you'll see your little comment to yourself, which you would have no way of remembering a year later what you had forgotten. And then now your list is that much better and you won't forget those things ever again. Such a transformation, and I really feel like it's possible for a lot of people who feel like, oh, I'm just not that organized. You can be, if you find the right tool. Yeah, awesome. All right. So Asana, I've talked about this a bit already, but it's easy to use. I introduced it to several different people. For one, I was responsible for training people at the company I worked at to use it when they started as a new employee. But also several friends and people that I was in school with for my master's degree as well, including one of my professors. I've introduced a lot of different people to Asana, and really I haven't heard from any of them that it was too confusing or anything like that. It's pretty simple. It's very similar to pretty much all other tools out there. I mean, there's comments just like in Facebook. There's hearts like in Twitter. It's familiar. It makes sense. It's connected too, so you can use Google Drive, Dropbox, and just connect and just upload directly from your computer files into Asana to be able to collaborate around a document. And I love using Asana for collaborating on documents like that, especially if you use Google Drive, because then, there isn't multiple versions of it. And it's always easy to find because it's right there in the task. When it's time to work on it, there's the file. Instead of then going into your Drive and try to find the file. Very nice for that. It's fun. That is a big piece for me. There's cute little things they do. Like they had this different thing for the holiday where it was like, I think it was Halloween and there was like bats and different fun things. And then they have this part where if you press your task done, a unicorn flies across the screen. Or lately I've been seeing a narwhal as well with a jetpack.
Yeah, I think they have a fish too.
Thanks, Sierra.
I think they have a fish too. They have a couple different ones they randomly, but it's cute. It goes across the screen and celebrates with you while you finish a task.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's super fun. And then, like I said earlier, the fast communication around tasks, the context is already there for the person when you make a comment on a task and you tag them. And tagging them is just as simple as typing in their name with an @ symbol at the front. So it's something that you end up knowing and doing automatically just as you're typing. You start typing in their name and then add your question, and they get an email notification and they go into the task and respond back to you. It can be excellent, especially if you've got a mixed environment where you have some people in the office and some people at their house and some people across the country. It's so much better to have a tool like this where you can just quickly ask a question, and it doesn't matter where they are, even if they're not at their desk, because of the mobile app, they can answer you and get back to you on the fly real quick. I know I've turned it off because I don't have people I'm collaborating with right now very much in Asana, but when I did, I had push notifications on my phone. So I would, even when I was just like in a meeting, I would quickly, just peek at my phone just to see what kinds of notifications I was getting, who had gotten back to me about something maybe. And it was just so nice to be able to just kind of quickly check in and then keep going with my meeting and go back to my desk and know what I'm about to work on. So it's nice. And it is really nice too, the fact that there's both the mobile app and the web browser. I feel like sometimes they only offer one of those two. So you can only either use it on your phone or you can only use it on the computer. And for me, that's just too much of a limitation. I like using it on the computer when I want to be doing a lot in there and I need to be able to type and, use all the full featured stuff that's much easier to use on the computer versus using it on the phone. But then there's times when I'm away from my desk and I want to be able to just check on things, or maybe when I wake up in the morning, I want to see what's on my plate for today. I'll check my Asana right when I wake up.
Well, and the other thing is their web browser and their mobile app are super simple. I mean, super similar. There's not a big difference. A lot of times companies will have a web browser that is app that is completely different than their mobile app. But in Asana, it's very consistent across the board. So once you learn it in one place, you don't have to relearn it in a different, as in a mobile app. So that's something that I really enjoy about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've been working on it for a long time. I mean, I've been using the app for, I don't know, like maybe 5 years. And, it's gotten better and better. At this point, I don't think there's anything that I do on the web browser that I can't do on my phone. It's just knowing how it works a little bit, like where to put your finger and like which button to push to make that menu open and to do those things. But I've definitely been able to do everything on my phone that I can on the web browser and vice versa. Yeah. Cool. Oh, it's that time. So I'm actually going to show you my Asana. I'm exiting out of my presentation. I'm going to go over here and bear with me because, loading. Okay, so I think everybody can see my screen now. Is that right, Sierra?
Yes, I can see it.
Awesome. Okay, so this is my regular personal tasks list, my real one. And I had a task that I set a it has this due date options, and it also now has, in addition to the day it's due, the time it's due. So this one, I wanted to make sure and post to social media about my webinar so that everybody would know that it's now and show up and come and check it out. So, so I made myself a task that was due at 10 a.m. So it would notify me to do that task at 10 a.m. on my tasks list. And I did actually complete the task. I just forgot to mark it done because I was so busy getting ready for my webinar. So here we go. I get to mark it done now. Woohoo!
Oh, no unicorn this time.
Oh, okay. That's okay. And here you can see I have a total mix of random tasks for today, and then I have a huge number of upcoming, and then if I clicked later, you would get upset because it's even more. But I often keep my upcoming hidden like this because it's nice to not see that when you're trying to focus on what you're supposed to do today, to see what's coming up this week. Upcoming is typically, what are you doing later on this week? And then I almost always have a few overdue tasks. This is partly because I don't want to spend extra time organizing. I put them in the order I want to do them, but I don't worry about the due date when they're in today. Because I know I'll get to it. It's behind, but I'll get to it, you know. And so like here, I better get to this one soon. You can't let the bathroom go too long. Family like me. But so I'll get to that one. It's a high priority, right after the webinar probably. And then I've got some stuff for my teaching, and then I've got something for my family's personal finances, checking my budget and making sure I'm on budget this month. And I have that due. So this is one of my ones that's organized. I have a ton of projects. And this is one of them. It's in my budgeting and bills project. And it's to check what areas we are surpassing the budgeted amount, to reduce spending, and look at my goals to see if my amounts to pay each month can be adjusted. So I have a budget in Mint. It's another tool I use, Mint, to track all of our finances. And it has a budget tool in there. And so then it tracks amongst all of our different accounts, all of our spending, and it will tell me if we've spent too much, like say going out to eat. Or if we spent too much on just like random, you know, going to Fred Meyer type stuff. It'll tell me that in the budget, and then I'll try to do a better job, maybe spend a little bit less for a little while, and you know, keep on track. So it's a way that I keep my family's budget in check. Another teacher thing. And then here you can see I've got my favorites up in the corner. And so these are two of my major projects this summer, working on my tech business, doing stuff like what I'm doing right now. So all my tasks relating to my webinar preparation and stuff are here in my tech business project. And Sierra is on this project too, so that she and I can collaborate. If there's something we're working on together, I can put it in there and I can add her to it. And maybe she has a question about something she's working on for a client, she can throw it in there. It's just it's a great little spot that I'm constantly checking and looking at. So, and here I'm going into a specific project because I wanted to talk about the collaboration and the tools for managers as well related to projects. And this is an old project. It's going to take a while to load, I think. I archived it quite some time ago. It's back when I was getting my master's, and I had a really big project. It was basically the entirety of a class that I was needed for my graduation for my master's. So I had to work in a group and create this huge research project. And so as part of that, I decided that my team needed to use Asana. And I convinced them to all join Asana and work with me in our interactive notebooks project. And I also added our professor to the project. So our professor would come to this page here, the progress page. And back then, there was actually tasks remaining and tasks that had been completed. So there was a more interesting graph than just everything's done. But of course, everything's done and has been done. So that's the reason why it's like that. And I'm going to go over here to conversations to show you about this update status. So each time, regularly, as you can see, where I needed to update our status for our professor. So throughout the project, I did that. And it was great. I could tell our professor what we had done, going to stay on the right track. And also here you can see all the project statuses are green. That's because we did really well. We stayed on track the whole way. But I could have used yellow or red to say maybe we're in jeopardy or we are probably not going to meet our deadline. But that didn't happen. We met our deadline. We got everything done. And it looks here, like here, my last update said we were on track, if not a little ahead of schedule. So that's awesome. It also has a calendar. You can't really see much on this with the calendar, so I'm going to go to my lesson plans one to show you that, because the calendar in my lesson plans is full. You can see I'm really busy. I'm a teacher, and in the summer, it's prep time. So I'm using every day. I have tasks in here. So it should, yep, there it goes. So you can see if you're wanting to see, over time what your team has completed on something, and look for maybe areas where there was high productivity and low productivity and see what could have changed. This can be really helpful for sort of reflecting on that. And also to see what does your team have coming up. You can look at a person's calendar for just their tasks, and then you can see their workload and say, oh, look, there's these 3 days that they have open. Of course, then you might want to check and make sure they're working those days. In my case, those 3 days are actually, I have some teacher stuff I'm doing all day, so I won't be able to do any of my teaching prep on those days, so I don't have them blocked out. But yeah, so it's amazing how many different ways you can look at your tasks in Asana and track them. And if you have a question, it's so easy to make a comment. So here I'm going to click into this task here, which is just one of my random teacher prep tasks. But if I had other followers on here, would there be other pictures down here? So like here, I could add Sierra to this if I wanted. And I can click on her, and she could be shared in this task. And I can also mention her by going at and start typing her name, and it will pop her up as well. So it's pretty neat that you can use Asana in so many different ways to communicate with people and collaborate.
Yeah, no, the fact that you can communicate with multiple people, no matter where they are, is amazing. And I find that the back and forth emails and miscommunication definitely goes down by using Asana, because they don't have to go read 8 emails to find out where you're at. It's all right there. So I think it is wonderful when it comes to the communication on projects. And on big projects, very rarely is it just one person that is accomplishing that project, and so there needs to be communication to make sure it gets done the right way.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, and even when it is one person, one thing that I kind of think of Asana as, for me as a business owner, is my personal accountability tool. I use Asana to set myself up with a schedule for how much I'm going to get done each day. And it keeps me from saying, oh, I'm kind of tired today. I guess I just won't really get that stuff done. If I do that, then I know I'm going to have another day where I have to get 3 things done instead of just one. Because my Asana is constantly, it turns red when it's overdue. And, I get email notifications with how many overdue tasks I have. And it really holds me to what I promised myself I would do, and helps me to feel better about myself because I did that. Because I accomplished what I said I was going to accomplish. You feel like I am that reliable person that gets things done that I want to be. It's awesome. So with that said, it's not just the tool, it's how you use it. So I have kind of 3 rules of thumb with using Asana that I think set you up for success. So the first one, if it's going to take more than 5 minutes to do, put it in Asana. And if you don't need to do it right now, put it in Asana, even if it is going to take less than 5 minutes, to keep you from doing 10 little tasks instead of that big task that you really, really need to get done. You know, it prevents you from having a late night trying to meet a deadline. It prevents you from having those problems if you use it the right way. So, like I said, if it's going to take more than 5 minutes to do, put it in Asana. And if you don't need to do it right now, like it doesn't have to do with like a crucial follow-up with someone, put it in Asana. And then in order to use it, you have to check it every day. Or you can have emails and push notifications coming to you. That's another way to, you know, maybe not check it every day. Let's say you've got a day where you're like, I'm not going to do any work today. You can at least check and see what's in there and make sure that there isn't something you forgot about that you really actually are going to do that day. Because that's how things get missed, you know, is you don't check it for a few days and you come back and you're like, oh no. So if you don't use it, that in mind. I wanted to talk about, you know, kind of what you can expect in your life should you embrace a tool like Asana. Less stress for sure. You'll feel like you have it all together. You'll know it's kind of, I've learned this about a lot of the studies of how they've determined the brain works. If you know you have something stored somewhere else, your brain stops worrying about it. If it knows that oh, that's written down and it's got the due date, then it doesn't have to worry about remembering it anymore. And then you would definitely feel more in control of your time because you are no longer responding to every little fire that pops up. You are categorizing and prioritizing those fires and putting them out to when they can be dealt with appropriately. And then, of course, feel and be more productive as well. And like I said earlier, less forgotten or missed deadlines, due dates, or even birthday greetings. And enjoy getting things done a little more. Like we said about the celebratory unicorns and narwhals and fish and different fun ways that Asana helps you feel good about yourself when you get a task done. And you can do this. You can take this on. Getting used to any new habit, like using Asana to organize, is hard, and it takes a lot of work up front. You have to actually plan all of these different pieces of your life in there. You know, I definitely spent a long time when I first started using Asana for like house stuff, for example, tweaking and kind of working with the due dates on all of my different household chores. Now I think I have them to a pretty good space, but it took a long time, you know. I had to experiment. You know, I discovered that putting laundry on Asana once a week wasn't good enough. It has to be every 4 days. You know, and I learned that you know, certain pieces of it I could, you know, change it a little bit, like maybe you know, like I was thinking I would dust every 90 days, and I found that just didn't happen. So then I dusted every 6 months, and that worked. You know, I mean, it's like I figure out where I'm not doing it, and I try to adjust what I'm doing with Asana to fit my life and how it's really going to be, you know, the reality of it. And give yourself a break if you fall behind sometimes. You know, it happens to me all the time, and I just always just pick up the pieces, put it all back in place where you know, it should be prioritized again, and work on those overdue tasks. And other times I'll say, you know what, this is just too overwhelming. I can't focus on my work because I feel too stressed. And so what I'll do is I'll go through that task list that I have with all those overdue tasks, and I'll change my due dates to match when I really think I actually might get them done, and then move them out and put them in later, put them in upcoming, and get them out of my space. And that way, you know, I'm keeping my task list in a manageable place. You know, it doesn't help your stress levels and it doesn't help you focus if you're also giving yourself too much to do in Asana. Anything more for you, Sierra?
Well, there's one thing I don't think we've actually mentioned it, is that for the majority of Asana's features, it's free. So
oh yeah, you're right. We haven't said that.
no. And so not only is this going to get yourself organized, but it's going to do it really inexpensively. So
yes, most likely free. And I believe it's 30 employees is the cutoff for
I think so.
a workspace. Mm-hmm. And also another piece of that to know is, so like I said, you know, I started using this at a company that I no longer work for. And I didn't lose my Asana when I quit. You know, I had my own personal workspace for me that was separate. So it was able to, you know, Asana is sophisticated in that way. So you can join a company workspace and still have your own personal workspace. And so that you can keep it separate for when, you know, maybe you decide to go with a different opportunity and you still want to keep your personal Asana. That's the beauty of it. And you can create these separate workspaces too. Let's say maybe you're one of those ultra entrepreneurs, you have 3 businesses and you have different sets of employees in each of those. You could have 3 Asana workspaces. Yeah. And yes, most of the time free. And even then, I recall the pricing being really reasonable too for even above 30 employees. So if you have 30 employees, you probably also have the budget to actually pay for your task management programs too. So that's okay. All right. Well, that was it for us today, I think. And thank you, everybody. As always, you can visit us at technologyangel.net. And you can call me directly at 541-362-1128. Sierra, you want to do yours?
yes, you can reach me at 541-761-4371.
Awesome. And also, just as a last parting message, we also, like I mentioned at the beginning, we do offer virtual assistant services. So should you decide you want to take on Asana, but it's daunting, the idea of getting yourself organized in there, and you maybe have something else you were using before that you need to migrate, you do that, reach out and we can do that for you. Anything from you, Sierra?
Yep, absolutely. We're ready and waiting for you to, if you need any help.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.